Dream cars, German supercars. Porsche, BMW, Audi, and Mercedes. German supercars are exceptional sports cars, unique, extravagant, and spectacular. Germans manufacture trend-setting design and innovative technologies. Super sports cars belong to the champions of the Supercars League. Every model projects its own unique aura. Every model is equipped with stunning charisma and maximum potential to get drivers addicted. Germany is the land of speed. In no other country are there so many highways. In no other country are there so few speed limits. And Germany is the country of motorsport successes. No country, not even Italy, has such a phenomenal motorsport history as Germany. Not surprising then that the first supercar in the world was built in Germany. The Mercedes S-Type, a street-legal race car. In the 1920s, it's unbeatable on the road and on the track. Shortly after the Second World War, with the Type 300 SL, Mercedes constructs a super sports car that sets new standards for decades to come. Space frame, wing doors, and the first series standard direct fuel injection. One of the most stunning German supercars, the BMW M1 from the 1970s, also has a tubular space frame. With an all-electric digital ignition system and oil-dry sump lubrication, it's way ahead of its time. A few years later, the Porsche 959 amazed the car world. In 1985, at 317 kilometers per hour, the 959 is the fastest production sports car in the world and the most innovative. In addition to an electronically controlled all-wheel drive with twin turbocharger, the first speed-sensitive level control in the world ensures that the 959 is also safely drivable beyond the 300 kilometers per hour mark. Then, as now, German supercars deliver plenty of new ideas and concepts. This enables them to create a lasting impetus for the entire automotive world and pave the way for the future of mobility. It's the successor to the legendary Mercedes SLS AMG, the AMG GT. The GT is a dream of a sports car, hardly ornate and with classic proportions.
The AMG, with its long snout and broad short tail, is certainly one of the most gorgeous supercars in the world.
The AMG GT is a car with incredible charisma. It is the essence of the Gullwing and SL from the 1960s. Designed and built by AMG, powered by a hand-built V8 and the entire luxury power of Mercedes, the AMG GT isn't only good-looking, but also an inspiring supercar. No corners, no edges. The AMG GT dispenses with showmanship. The sculpture of the body is smooth, and it emits the feeling that the wind doesn't stand a chance of being able to slow it down.
In addition to all the wonderful details in the interior, one notices that the center console is comparatively wide. Why is that? One has attempted to move the engine nearer to the passenger compartment to achieve an ideal weight distribution.
The AMG GT is a front mid-engine sports car with transaxle concept, rear-wheel drive, and an almost perfect weight balance. In addition, the GT has the same aluminum space frame as the SLS AMG. On the racetrack, the displacement heavyweight reveals itself as a high flyer. The GT is an AMG through and through, and all the power goes to the rear axle. However, despite the exuberant power, the GT displays brilliant road handling equal to some of the best sports cars. An AMG supercar for long trips on normal roads. Thanks to its above-average driving stability, high running smoothness, and precise steering, the AMG GT is as fast as a silver arrow. The AMG GTS offers almost 50 horsepower more and even better dynamics than the GT. Like the GT, the GTS also has a front mid-engine under the long hood and a transaxle transmission on the rear axle.
The car has 510 horsepower and rear-wheel drive. Imagine how it is to step on the gas in curves. The rear can spin right round.
Externally, the GTS differs from the GT primarily through its bold rear spoiler in 80s look. Whether on the road or the racetrack, the AMG GTS is a source of pure joy. And particularly on the racetrack, it's capable of delivering what its exterior promises. Powerful on the straights, steady and smooth through the corners. The AMG GTS is in the same league as Ferrari, Corvette, and Aston Martin. It gives its driver the feeling of being in harmony with the car with every press of the accelerator and with every movement of the steering wheel. It's Porsche driving at the highest level. Former Formula One driver Gerhard Berger describes it as pure joy, the Porsche GT3 RS. The GT3 RS is a street-legal race car. The Weight Watchers from Porsche have dug deep into their bag of tricks to save every kilo on the GT3 RS, just like with a race car. The huge carbon rear wing, mudguard, and doors are made of aluminum, the roof of magnesium.
The GT3 RS is not designed to just drive up and down the boulevard with, but for the racetrack, and you can see that on it.
The Porsche GT3 is a real race car for the road. With the RS, one has added another layer on top. It can be seen from the large rear wing and wide body derived from the turbo.
The rear wing of the GT3 RS is 1.7 meters wide and provides up to 345 kilos of downforce. The GT3 RS immediately signals uncompromising determination. Its performance demands respect and can be awe-inspiring. A mesh of steel pipes replaces the rear seats. Two tough shells serve as the front seats. It offers as much comfort as a racing bobsled. The GT3 RS is more than a driving machine. It's a magic machine made of power, aerodynamics, and suspension. A catapult on the straights. In the curves, it's a physical miracle that sticks to the tarmac beyond the limits of what's believable.
In this price range, there is no other vehicle with a performance like that.
The GT3 RS is as close to racing feeling as no other series standard 911 before. It gives its driver the understanding that at any time it can do more than whoever's at the wheel.
It has an insane grip. This allows you to go incredibly fast through the corners, which even forgives centrifugal forces.
The ultra-direct driving experience makes the GT3 RS the most exciting sports car in the world.
The vehicle, of course, drives very neutrally and with great precision, which is so much fun because you no longer want to get out.
The GT3 RS is 911% a race car, which only has one potential weak spot: its driver. A supercar from the future, the first of a new generation, the BMW i8.
I think the i8 has the most exciting design among all sports cars, and I particularly like this little gap between the C-pillar and the rear light.
It looks like it comes from another planet with its futuristic design.
The i8 presents itself as visionary and innovative. The car also welcomes its passengers like Captain Future behind the double entry doors. The digital cockpit resembles that of a spaceship.
When you accelerate with this car, it is very impressive how well the electric motor harmonizes with the petrol engine. This results in a power delivery that is incredibly linear.
When one sees and hears that there is only a 3-cylinder inside, you think in the beginning, this is a sham. But when you step on the gas pedal for the first time, then you really realise the power that is there behind it, and it completely blew me away.
The charging time for the batteries in the plug-in hybrid is between 2 to 3 hours. The electric motor is located on the front axle and delivers 131 horsepower and 250 newton-meters of torque. If one needs to go faster than in the e-drive mode, a press on the accelerator is enough. And the 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbo delivers its power with unexpected vehemence. The halved 6-cylinder is an impressive BMW engine, supple, snappy, and powerful. It sends 231 horsepower to the rear wheels. The smooth interaction between the petrol and electric motors delivers a total of 362 horsepower and a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. The i8 is the sustainable star among super sports cars, a spectacular and powerful piece of technology, an innovation statement. It's a sports car whose dynamics elevated into a dimension in which normally only million-dollar race cars move, the Porsche Turbo S.
The highlight of the 911 series is of course the Turbo S. Although it's very wide and at the rear side has air inlets, for the turbos and the wide spoiler it doesn't appear vulgar at all, but still discreet and elegant.
A wider rear end and the legendary spoiler. This is how the Turbo S differs from a normal Carrera. In the cockpit, the Turbo S is all 911. Comfortable front seats, high-quality finish. Under the body of the turbo, a compilation of technical refinements is at work.
The Turbo S has all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering, and thus can drive cornering speeds that are just out of this world.
In addition to the high cornering speeds, the Turbo S excels with explosive power delivery and effortless acceleration. It can be driven in a completely civil manner, despite all its race car genes. The Turbo S moves with an incredible matter-of-factness through fast corners so that only professionals can take it to its true limits.
The Turbo can do much more than the normal driver is capable of.
With its power and performance, the Porsche Turbo S approaches the limits of what is possible for road vehicles. German supercars radiate with stunning performance, perfect technology, and exacting design. They belong to the fastest and most spectacular supercars in the world. The following two sports cars seem to break the laws of physics with their power. They belong to the variety of supercars, of which racing legend Walter Röhrl once said, "A car is only fast enough when you stand in front of it and are scared to get into it." Race car construction as tempestuous as a hurricane, the Audi R8 V10 Plus.
The R8, of course, has this brute force, plus a robust sound which one no longer even knows about nowadays because of turbo engines.
The R8 is based on the Lamborghini Huracan and is more than a soft German version of the Italian supercar. With 610 horsepower, it is as hot-blooded as the Italian.
If you look at them, you can see the Italian influence in the design, and so you have the combination of German technology and Italian grandeur.
Audi developed a new body structure for the R8 V10, a mix of aluminum and carbon, 15% lighter and 40% more rigid than its predecessor. Audi modeled the new R8 cautiously in the same way as Porsche did with the 911. The R8 V10 Plus now shows edges. The proportions are sharper. The progress in design looks moderate, but beneath the body of the R8, apart from a few screws, this is a completely new car. In the R8, a wellness atmosphere prevails instead of a racing ambience. The interior, with leather, carbon, and aluminum, speaks the design language of Audi. In addition, the driver looks at a virtual cockpit. On the racetrack, the R8 V10 Plus can be easily and quickly handled like no other sports car with more than 600 horsepower.
The way in which this vehicle steers into curves and then holds the line on the apex and accelerates out of the corners is so phenomenal that it easily deceives to overestimate while driving.
The reason behind the superior tracking ability of the R8 is the all-wheel drive, which works with a completely free distribution of force. With a variable ratio steering, even with an amateur at the wheel, it conveys the feeling that the car simply can't be overtaken. On the German Nürburgring, the Audi is faster than the McLaren 650S, the Porsche Turbo S, and the Nissan GT-R. The R8 V10 Plus is a supercar in the Champions League of supercars. In 2003, it is the ultimate supercar, the Porsche Carrera GT. Built for Le Mans, the Super Porsche is a production race car for the road, then as now, an automotive dream. The body covers the chassis like a thin skin. Body and chassis of the Carrera GT are made of lightweight and high-quality carbon fiber, like in a Formula One car. This means the Porsche only weighs 1,300 kilograms. The two-time rally world champion Walter Röhrl developed the chassis tuning for the Porsche GT. For the series launch, Porsche then manufactured the Carrera GT without ESP to make it purest and direct. With its immense power and previously unknown driving dynamics, the 2003 Carrera GT is like a car from another planet. It's a Porsche of the kind that will never be built again. 10 years later, Porsche is once again building a supercar, a hypercar, faster than the GT, but tame in comparison in terms of driving.
When I compare our Carrera GT, which is a big step towards easiness to drive, anyone who has not experienced it cannot believe it.
It is the fastest of the German supercars and the most expensive compromise between electric drive and internal combustion. The Porsche 918 Spyder. How fast the hybrid racer really is can be seen here in Australia, in the outback, on a 100-kilometer highway without a speed limit.
What this supercar offers in terms of performance and driving dynamics is so far above all other sports cars that as a normal driver one cannot imagine it.
The body of the 918 Spyder has an almost classic sports car form with some typical Porsche shapes.
When you see the 918 Spyder standing next to you, you're simply amazed. This is a design that is so ultra-sporty, which represents such pure power. It's fascinating.
The design of the 918 is a tribute to other legendary Porsche race cars, such as the Le Mans winning 917, the Carrera 6, and the 935. Drivers and passengers are separated in the cockpit of the Carrera GT by the elevated center console. The 918 has the power of 3 drive hearts. An electric motor sits above each of the front and rear axles. In addition, there's a V8 engine. The combined power of the 3 machines turns the 918 into a rocket.
If you press the accelerator with 800 horsepower, the sequences just happen very quickly. Where it has to slow down, where it needs to steer. That is certainly a problem for people who are not used to the speeds. When one steers too late, nothing at all can help.
The 608 horsepower racing engine in the rear of the 918 is a machine of superlatives. At only 132 kilograms, it is the lightest V8. Top pipes, and with 132 brake horsepower per liter, the 4.6-liter V8 has the world's highest specific power among street-legal, naturally aspirated engines.
As far as the handling of the car goes, it is incredible. You drive the car and you just don't understand the physics of this world. How it can steer, how it drives out from corners when I give full throttle, which is very impressive.
The driving dynamics, which seem to defy the laws of physics, are the result of the interaction of all motors and wheels. The electric motor on the front axle gives the 918 the traction of a 4-wheel drive.
So it's really an achievement if one buys a supercar and there's already a possibility, with 800 horsepower, to stand out suddenly as environmentalists. It says, I'm concerned about the environment with a completely new technology.
The ability to drive 100 kilometers with only 3 liters of gasoline and around the Nürburgring in just 7 minutes makes the 918 the ultimate sports car of its decade. In September 2013, Porsche works driver Mark Lieb begins a unique record attempt. The 918 Spyder is the first production car in the world to beat the magic limit of 7 minutes on the Nürburgring. After 73 corners and 20.8 kilometers, the old record is beat by 17 seconds. Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. German supercars are racing cars for the road. Equipped with a maximum of what is technically feasible, they are impulse generators for the further development of supercars. But more than all other supercars, German supercars entice with their stunning design, exciting sound, and perfect driving behavior.